Difficult people do not disturb you by force. They disturb you by access. A tone irritates you. A comment provokes you. A behavior feels disrespectful. Emotion rises instantly. Most people believe the other person caused this. They did not. What changed was authority. Someone gained access to your internal state. This is why composure collapses around people more often than around problems. Problems apply pressure. People apply influence. Pressure challenges capacity. Influence bypasses structure. Notice what happens in social friction. Attention shifts outward. Self-reference weakens. The inner line fades. You begin monitoring them, their words, their tone, their intent. The moment attention leaves your center, calm becomes unstable. This is the core failure. Calm is not lost because people are difficult. It is lost because authority is relocated. You stop operating from your structure and start responding to theirs. Difficult people exploit this unconsciously. They pull reactions. They invite explanation. They reward emotional movement. Not because they are powerful, but because most minds are unguarded. The Stoic response was not avoidance. It was impermeability. They did not try to correct people. They defined where influence ended. Calm was protected internally, not negotiated socially. This is why Stoics remained steady around hostility, arrogance, or disrespect. They did not meet behavior with emotion. They met it with structure. If certain people repeatedly disturb you, the issue is not their behavior. It is the absence of a boundary between their actions and your internal state. In the next phase, we will examine how social influence bypasses discipline and why composure fails when attention tracks others instead of itself. Social pressure rarely feels like pressure. It feels like urgency. Someone reacts, someone watches, someone expects a response. The mind interprets this as demand. Respond now, clarify now, defend now. This is how composure breaks, not through confrontation, but through acceleration. Social situations compress time. You feel pushed to act before judgment has stabilized. This is the mechanism. Attention shifts outward, away from structure, toward the other person, their expression, their tone, their expectation. The moment you track them, you abandon your internal position. Composure cannot survive that transfer. Social pressure succeeds because response is mistaken for relevance. Silence is labeled weakness. Delay is labeled loss. Stillness is labeled submission. These labels are social habits, not truths. They exist to keep interaction moving, not to preserve self-command. The Stoic correction was precise. They slowed the internal clock, not externally, internally. They allowed the situation to wait, while judgment reclaimed authority. This did not escalate tension, it dissolved it, because urgency is influence, and influence collapses when timing is controlled. When you do not rush response, pressure loses leverage. The other person must adjust to your pace, not the reverse. This is why composed presence feels strong without aggression. You are not managing the interaction, you are governing timing, and timing is authority. In the next phase, we will reframe silence and delay correctly and show why composure strengthens when the mind refuses to hurry for anyone. Composure returns the moment authority moves inward. As long as your reference point is external, other people govern your state, their mood, their tone, their reactions. This creates instability. The Stoic correction was internal reference. You stop asking, how should I respond to them? You begin asking, what position am I holding? That shift is decisive. Attention returns to structure, to posture, to boundary, to presence, not as techniques, as orientation. You are no longer monitoring their behavior. You are maintaining your alignment. This is the core of composure. Difficult people lose influence when they are no longer the reference. Their words still occur. Their behavior still unfolds, but it no longer sets direction. Internal reference creates distance, not emotional distance, structural distance. Emotion may register, it does not steer. You do not mirror tone, you do not match intensity, you do not absorb urgency, you remain positioned. This is why Stoics appeared unmoved, not because they felt nothing, but because they stayed centered. Centered minds do not get pulled, they observe. Once internal reference is restored, interaction slows, judgment widens, choice returns. You regain the capacity to respond deliberately instead of reflexively. This is composure, not silence, not withdrawal, presence without disturbance. In the next phase, we will apply this internal reference in conversation and show how to speak, listen and engage without surrendering authority. Composure is tested most while speaking and listening. Words create momentum. Tone invites reaction. Silence creates pressure. This is where internal reference must hold. When someone speaks sharply, do not match speed. Do not match tone. Let their pace end with them. You listen without leaning forward. You respond without urgency. This is not passivity. It is control of tempo. Tempo determines authority. When you slow internally, the interaction reorganizes. You choose when to speak. You choose how much to say. You choose what remains unsaid. Composed speech is minimal, clear, unreactive. You do not explain yourself into acceptance. You do not defend yourself into respect. You state what is necessary. Then you stop. Silence is not emptiness. It is containment. It signals that your stability does not depend on filling space. Difficult people rely on momentum. They push for reaction. They feed on escalation. When momentum is removed, their leverage disappears. Conversation becomes asymmetric. They feel pressure. You do not. Because your reference is internal, you are not trying to win interaction. You are maintaining position. This is how composure shows itself socially, not through dominance, through steadiness. In the final phase, we will integrate this composure into identity and close the arc from inner discipline to outward presence. At this stage, composure must become identity, not something you activate in difficult moments, something you operate from at all times. You are no longer someone who stays calm occasionally. You are someone whose calm is not granted away. Difficult people may speak, they may pressure, they may provoke. None of this relocates your center because your reference is internal. This is emotional discipline expressed outward. You do not absorb tone. You do not inherit urgency. You do not mirror instability. You remain positioned. That position is presence. Presence is not silence. It is not dominance. It is unavailability to manipulation. People feel it immediately. They sense that reaction cannot be extracted, that pressure does not purchase access, that composure is not negotiable. This is why calm becomes influence. Not because you control others, but because you govern yourself. This completes the transition from inner discipline to outward presence. The discipline phase trained desire, impulse, and pressure. This phase reveals its effect among people. If this video clarified why certain people disturb you, acknowledge that insight, and if this direction sharpens your presence, continue forward. In the next video, we will deepen this composure further and examine how psychological stability is maintained across social environments, attention, and interaction without effort or withdrawal.